Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at 4 different watches, and I'm sure you can see what the commonality is between these here. Since I had this watch in on loan, this is the Long Island watch ISL-26 full lume dial. I figured I would compare this to the other full lume dials that I currently have in my collection. So next one over is the Zelos Swordfish version 2 stainless steel frost dial. And then this is also a Zelos. This is a Zelos Horizons V2 GMT with the full lume frost dial. And lastly, I have the Glycine Airman GL009. Not sure why I bought this, but I did mainly bought it to review, and I have not taken it out of the box or handled it until right now. Kind of forgot I had it, so anyway, I'll be reviewing that one eventually. So let me just hold these up one by one. These two are very similar in size. These are the larger ones. So this has a Loom ceramic bezel insert, and the Swordfish has a loomed stainless steel insert. And instead of having the black hands and black indices on the Swordfish, this will have a different color loom from the dial, which you'll see at the loom comparison. So here we have the Zelos Horizons 2. This has a high crystal to it. Guess I would call that a box crystal. This one does stick out a little bit, but not nearly as much as the Horizon 2 GMT. And it's rounded as well. So this also has, I believe this does also have 2 different color looms here. And then this has a loomed bezel insert, but it's covered in sapphire. I have not spent much time with this watch either, as you can probably tell because there's still plastic on the bracelet. This is a nice size for my wrist. It's a little bit smaller of a watch. I think you can see that here compared to the Swordfish. So not sure how that will play into the loom comparison, but we'll check that out. I've not seen this watch or this one with the lights turned off yet. You can see this dial here definitely has more of a yellow tint to it. These other 3 are more white. You really wouldn't know that these have loom. They just look like a white dial watch. This one here looks a little more yellow. And actually I have a white dial watch over here I can bring in just to see if you can tell a difference in the dial color. So this is my, Orient Mako 2 USA. Pretty sure I got that right. This is a smaller watch as well. I really actually quite like this watch. Haven't reviewed this one yet either. But I will be getting to that eventually. What the heck, let's throw another watch into the mix just for a size comparison. Seiko SKX. I think everybody owns one of these. This thing is a tank. I mean, it's heavy. I weighed it at 191 grams. Size for my 6.5-inch wrist. So for most people, it'll probably be even heavier than that. I'm assuming that I have a smaller than average wrist. And lastly, the Glycine Airman. I think this is a 42mm version of the Airman. There's many different versions of the Airman. So I don't know if I compared these two yet side by side. I think the Airman dial is the most yellow. I do like that blacked out date window though. Matches the other indices. And as you can tell, this is a GMT, and the Horizons 2 GMT is obviously a GMT. They may actually have the same movement. I think this one is displayed. Sorry, going on a bit of a tangent. Oh yeah, it has a display case back, but it's blacked out a little bit, or tinted. I don't know why they would do that. It's kind of annoying. The spring bar almost looks like it's kind of blackened as well. It doesn't look like a stainless. Maybe it's just my imagination. I don't know. All right, let's look at the back of this one, and then we can get into the wrist shots. Yeah, it looks like it could very well be the same movement. It is a, pretty sure this is an ETA movement, ATO movement. This one may be Solita. They both may be Solita. I don't really know, but they're very similar. So, anyway, this is on here or not. What movement is in here? Guess not. All right, I guess we'll start with Glycine for the wrist shot. I've not had this on wrist before. I don't know what kind of coating is on this. It doesn't feel like a PVD coating. It's glossier than that. I think that came off the Glycine. I don't know if I'm actually going to wear this watch or not. Like I said, I bought it mainly for the review. Put that back underneath. Nope, won't stay. There we go. So I have a 6.5 inch wrist. Let's just measure the lug to lug on this real quick. Looks to be about 49, just roughly. Not really a fan of the all blacked out watches like this. I'm not sure if you can see, but this bezel turns as well. You have to loosen the, I'll show you here. You have to loosen this screw down. It's not really a crown. It locks a plate in place here. So this thing, you unscrew it, and it's got this little plate that meshes with the gears on here, or the teeth, I should say. And it's just, there's no friction to it really. So you could use the GMT hand for one time zone, the normal hands for another time zone, and then you can change this bezel around to track yet even another time zone. See if I can put this right back in the same place it was in. It locks on pretty firmly. All right, let's try on the next watch. Let's go with ISL-26 Long Island Watch Islander. So this has a lug-to-lug of 48.2. It's actually longer with the center links. It's about 53 with those center links. I should try and guess which one will be the brightest. Maybe put them in order by brightness. Or not. So this has very similar dimensions as well. I think the lug on this was also 48, and then with the fixed center lug it was 53. So this one and the previous one do technically overhang my wrist. May not be able to see from this angle here. And lastly, the one that probably fits my wrist the best, the Zelos Horizons V2 GMT. This is a good looking watch. I really do like this watch. It looks classy to me. So bidirectional, see, would that be 48 click? No, 24 click bezel. The bezel does feel a little goofy though. This watch is pretty light actually, even with all these links on here. Alright, well, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of these watches. If there's one you would choose over the other. If you like the looks of them, how do you like the full lume dial? Like I said in other videos, they look really cool in when the lights are off, but I don't care for the yellowish color. I mean, these two are fine because it looks pretty white to me, like the white dial watch. What the heck did I do with that? Lost my white dial watch. I just had it. Okay, I found it. It was hiding on a box, hiding behind a box. So anyway, I should zoom in, huh? And lastly, we'll put in the Glycine Combat sub. All right, I'll be right back with the Loom. All right, so I switched up the order a little bit. On the far left, we have the Zelos Horizons V2 GMT. Then we have the Zelos Swordfish version 2 stainless steel. And then we have the ISL-26. And then on the far right, we have the Glycine Airman GL009, which I believe is also 42 millimeter. It's tough to pick a so-called winner by eye here. I have to leave it up to you guys to tell me which one you think is the brightest. I can tell you by eye they're not as bright as what's showing on the camera. The hands on the Horizon 2 all the way on the left are pretty bright. The Swordfish could be brighter if they didn't have those extra metal bars on the minute hand there. Yeah, instead of being the whole thing being lume. But you can definitely see the difference in the dial colors here. The two on the right the glycine may be a little bit darker than the ISL-26, but could come down to personal preference. Obviously, the 3 on the left, well, from left to right, they have Loom bezels. Let this run a little bit longer. I'm not sure if they're going to die down at all. I do like the look of the Horizons 2 the best out of these 4 watches. I like that it has applied indices with the Loom. The Swordfish, the next one to the right, has a sandwich dial. Personal preference, but I kind of like the look of the applied indices better than a sandwich dial. And the 2 on the right, I mean, I understand why the hands and the indices are black. I just don't really care for the look of that. But obviously it serves a purpose to black those out so you can see where the hands and indices are at versus the full Loom dial. Alright, I think that will do it for the video. If you could like it, I'd appreciate it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of these watches, and subscribe if you haven't. I'd appreciate it. Talk to you soon.